going. All right, we're here. We're here. I actually did the transition sort of right now. So there's that. I would never fucking go to. I would never fucking go to Iowa. Don't even fucking joke around with that. Someone in the Bernie chat thought I was from Iowa, and like I think I almost got like blocked out of that chat because I went on like such a rampage. Like, like, just you know, like, do you know why the fucking corn in Illinois grows to the west? Like, just screaming that Iowa stands for idiots out walking around, things like that. Just, it really is true. Like the whole fucking Kush, the whole Kush bomb Matt Christman thing about like how hilarious it is that like Nate Silver thinks that like you need to have like a Midwestern candidate to win the Midwest when like everybody in the Midwest hates like every single other state, or even like significant chunks of their own state. Like, just a visceral hate. It basically goes like into our like how like in the Midwest like we have like gone beyond racism against like people of different skin colors like in within white people themselves. Like we are racist against other white people as well as like other colors. So yeah. Yeah, as all of us are like wearing like Illinois gear. I got my even got my my Illini tattoo today. So got the got the, yeah, I'm ready for the tournament. I'm ready for the tournament. We're fucking yeah, I got it today. I'm off all weeks. There's none of those things, Anders. It's an Illinois thing. You wouldn't understand. It is It is it the. I'm really just a fan. I'm really just a fan of the meme where it's two large jacked farmer dudes that say things like Illinois guys make do, and it's just like they fucked a ear of corn. Well, no, they fuck corn. They use corn as a dildo. Yeah. I don't think so. Actually, you know what? Also, I just realized is you guys, your sound hasn't been going through, so that's fucking great. God damn it. I can hear you. No, it's the there.
And the people.
God damn it. Okay, we're.
Should I unmute?
I'm sorry, everybody. We did.
Do the jokes again, everyone. Capture the magic.
Yeah.
Capture the magic.
Anyways.
Inbreeding.
Yeah.
Illinois.
You can fill in the gaps.
Polish.
Like this is like Southpaws should be like a choose your own adventure story where like it's just me talking and you imagine yourself as like the other guests. Like you do voices for them. Like I'm like leading you, but I give you like the space in which you can like create your own.
Yeah.
It's very like postmodern. Like
It's kind of like it's like Dora the Explorer and ASMR, where he's just filming going like, Midwest, and then like 30 seconds of silence, and you go like, that's a good point, and then 30 more seconds of silence.
There you go. You guys have a good Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
Probably the most important holiday. I believe my tweet I sent out was the best part about being a communist is not enjoying things you used to look forward to, like Christmas or the Super Bowl. And I think that really did kind of speak to that the Super Bowl is like probably the largest American holiday that at least like everyone comes together secularly together to enjoy.
You know what? I did get to enjoy my Super Bowl Sunday, and the difference between me enjoying it as a communist versus back when I was a raging capitalist is that now I just did drugs instead of watch the game. So that was cool.
Very nice. Very nice.
Did you watch the game on drugs?
No. It was,
Okay. Yeah, so you skipped the game, right?
Yeah, I skipped the game. I didn't do drugs back in the day.
Okay.
I watched it. I had no investment. I just watched it, and people moved on the screen, and I tuned in for the last 5 minutes. That was somewhat exciting. You know.
This is the first Super Bowl that I can remember that I've been neutral. Like every other year, I come up with some cockamamie reason to support one team or the other, just like some very convoluted thing that makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember when San Francisco was in it the last time, I cheered for the Ravens because there was a guy who was on the team who was very pro-gay rights, but they were playing against Colin Kaepernick. So it's like in retrospect, that was the less woke move. So this year I was just like, I'm neutral, and I took it in until the fourth quarter when the Chiefs were down by 10, and I was like, this would make a better game if they came back, and they did, and they won. So it was a good game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the danger of trying to add up woke points in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's the exact
zero sum. Yeah.
It's not going to be. It's kind of like a caucus where it's like, well, one team won on the first ballot, but then we got some movement there when I considered the Kaepernick issue.
Right. It was before he took the knee.
Yeah.
So I know.
I went to a hockey game before, and I really thought that it would be dead because like. When I worked in restaurants, like, working on the Super Bowl was, like, I worked at a lot where they would just close because it would be, like, nobody's fucking coming in to eat during the Super Bowl or whatever. But it was actually fairly full. It was an exciting game. I got to took a friend that I now used to work with, who's not really into sports, but now he's, like, obsessed with hockey and was, like, asking me how much season tickets cost, when can we go again. He fucking loved it. There was a shootout. He got like everything that an NHL game has to offer. He was like, by the end, he was like standing up on every goal, like viscerally high-fiving immediately. like screaming, like so he's very into it. So that was kind of cool, because that is like generally hockey is like really easy to get like casuals into, like people who like aren't into sports or whatever. Usually you take them to a hockey game, and they're like, all right, well that was like 2.5 hours of like some pretty high paced action that we could also just talk through the entire thing. So it's fun. But I did want to say before we move on, like there was an incredibly grisly thing that happened in the game that like I have never heard of before. So I wanted to give you guys thoughts on this. So Brett Pesce, he's a defenseman on the Canes. His
Joe's
brother. His no, not Joe's. He's Brad's brother. Brad is very famous for being extremely high and drunk during an interview on a Canes game, where he discussed how Brett was an easy child to raise. Very funny stuff. Okay. He's legendary. He's on Twitter now. He's very funny on Twitter. So Brett went to go block a shot, and kind of grabs his wrist and then has to get off, and then they stop the game, and he's like running off, and you notice that there's blood everywhere because we were sitting across the ice, and it basically looked like another face-off dot. Like that's how clear it was on the ice, like how much blood was on there. Yeah. And so I'm like, holy shit! Like he clearly, like that was like some sort of compound fracture, right? Like it like busted through his skin. He's bleeding everywhere, like fairly common. Like no, not like fairly common, but like it will happen, right? So I'm like flicking through Twitter because he comes back the next, like, I don't know, 20-ish minutes later. He's back on the ice.
Jesus
so
Christ.
I'm like, what the fuck was that? Because there was blood literally everywhere.
Jesus.
So according to The Athletic, according to Sarah Sivian, friend of the pod, she says, Warrior, in quotes, Brett Pesce suffers gruesome blown-up vein, gets stitched up, nearly wins it in overtime 20 minutes later. Apparently, he like exploded one of the veins on his fucking wrist with a hockey puck.
Oh my god!
It just started bleeding everywhere.
Holy shit!
So, because The Athletic and I don't have a fucking Athletic subscription, I can't read like the exact like details of what happened. But yeah, that's probably the most insane thing I think I've ever heard from a hockey game.
Good God!
Thoughts?
Yeah, that's not sure.
That sounds like some wrestling shit right there. Like guys just get gruesomely injured, and they're like, "No, I'm not coming out of the match as long as I can physically walk."
It does kind of have a similar vibe, yeah.
It's the Mankind 11 chair shots to the head of hockey.
Yeah, that's got that kind of energy.
Yeah.
He'll come back.
Dude, I mean, like there was so much blood on the ice. They were like out there for like 10-ish minutes, like chipping it out. Like,
good God.
So that was pretty gross. But I did make it home in time to watch the game, which I decided to watch because I haven't watched a football game in 3 years. So I kind of was like partially. My wife was out. She was at orchestra practice, so I didn't really have anything to do. And you know, I just kind of was a sucker. I wanted to be part of the national conversation. You know, I mean, I've seen everybody talk about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm just, I'm a slut for content.
Slut for the baby nut.
As you saw with my Hot Boys for Burning post, which I don't think enough of you liked, so maybe go back and fave that. I remember Nathan faving it
immediately.
I also remember Anders faving it. So,
I did. That's right.
I would like maybe, you could show me a little support here, guys. I took my shirt off for Bernie, so.
Down for the cause.
Anyways, yeah, so I tuned in, and I guess I think it was kind of extra bad because they had the NFL 100 thing. So that was already incredibly stupid. Where the NFL tries to act like there's any sort of like there's just like this like gigantic cultural importance to like them existing, which would argue is almost a complete fabrication. They weren't really important to American society until about the 70s. So So that's complete fabrication. Any sort of fame that a guy, like, say, for instance, like on the NFL 100, like a Dick Buckkiss or whatever, much more famous for being at the University of Illinois than he ever was for playing in the NFL. And so there's already like manufactured cultural narratives, which led us to this. If you guys want to go to the watch together,
Ready.
Oh shoot! I gotta add Maurice to the video. Hold on.
While we're waiting, I want to say this is inspiring for all of us. Breaking news: the final count from the Muslim Community Organization, one of the 5 mosques serving as a caucus site for the first time in the history of the Iowa caucuses. Final results: Sanders 115, Yang 2, Buttigieg 2, Warren 1. Everyone else.
Oh my
0.
God! She did worse than Yang.
Yeah.
Yang.
Snake.
Apparently, the Klobuchar people are saying that they shouldn't expect help from the Yang gang. They said they're Yang or die.
That who shouldn't expect help?
There are some people.
Klobuchar's supporters.
I have seen reports saying that Yang's people are more likely to literally just go home because you can either I don't think it's been underreported. Like when you're under 15%, you could either go to a candidate or literally just go home. And a lot of Yang people have gone home. But if they have gone to someone, I've also seen Twitter tweets that if they're going to anyone, they're going to Bernie.
Well, I mean, Yang is basically Bernie, where Bernie has the whole thing where he like is engaging people who have like given up on the system. But if Bernie only encouraged like 12 people to do that. So.
Well, 2 of them were at that mosque, so we're excited to see what the other 10 have up their sleeve.
Just once again, another instance of Reddit like totally misappropriate. Just having like misappropriated certainty that they have like this gigantic cultural impact on the world. Then they get out like off their computers and it's just like, there's only like 4 of us. So, anyways, back to the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl like led off with this, so I'm gonna start playing it. So the classic kid who looks like OBJ. Just kid. Is that what's his face? Jim Brown.
Yeah.
Like.
Take it to the house, kid.
Doing the Forrest Gump. Okay.
Now it's just like how, football is just a part of us. It's inside.
Chicago. Let's go.
Chargers stadium that nobody will go to.
Big boy, let him get their little shot. Hey guys. Take it to the house, kid. Hey, take it to the house, kid. Take those to the car. Give him a tip, will you, Joe?
Give him a tip. That does rule Jimmy Garoppolo getting made to take it to the house.
Sorry, Julian.
Julian Edelman doesn't even know what he was doing there.
What up, Gary?
Shut the fuck up, Jerry. Jerry's like, I want to have those children killed.
Is that Ricky Williams?
No.
I just assumed because it was
running back now.
Oh, here's where I want to like pause for a second and say obviously incredibly disgusting. There's like a big lead up. I feel like I can't remember exactly because I was pretty crated at this point and I was about to pass out. But there was quite a lot of like true pumping that was like, and I don't know if this was just because I hadn't watched a football game in so long that like it seemed like extra, or just like it's just so shocking to you. Like I was talking like how I was doing some podcasting with Stephen Heck and John Colin for the thing with Brian, and like we were talking about like how they were just like so shocked when they went to an American sporting event at like they were like, this is like certainly some sort of troop day, and they're like, no, this is just the normal day. Like, it's just like what we do. So obviously disgusting. That Pat Tillman moment of silence.
Yeah. I don't get why it was in 2009 that they started doing the Pledge of Allegiance. Was it before 2009? They didn't do that. And then it started being standard at every NFL game. They would like stand and salute the troops or something.
I wonder why, particularly that year.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe
it
this
is partially because the military literally like handed over a bunch of money and said, "Let's start doing."
Oh, they have actually signed contracts. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. The military.
Brett Favre.
Oh Jesus! They're all,
so many
all
dudes
here.
So many dudes here who just like have no fucking idea like what's happening. Like they're like, you're acting, and they're just like they're like, am I playing today? Like, is this a game? Am I in the Super
that's
Bowl?
sad.
Like Brett Favre just certainly just like not even remembering his own fucking name as he probably.
Oh, they shot the ad on the jumbo screen. Oh my god.
Oh, and then he comes in.
I want Nick Bosa to come out of nowhere and just spear one of them.
What if they did like one of those depressing like anti-drug commercials during the Super Bowl, but it was for CTE, just like a warning.
Opioids
will kill 5 of these children by the time they turn 18.
So that was the other thing. Is like Pat Tillman aside, like I mean, we very clearly found like I mean the NFL is just like has like completely consistently just like ignored the wishes of his like of his surviving family members. Plus also just ignored reality. Like I mean just completely fabricated an entire narrative around Pat Tillman. But like so that also kind of I feel like also puts in. Did you guys see the political ads? There were two presidential ads in the Super Bowl. Both of them grotesque, and I wanted to get your idea on whose was more grotesque.
Let's go. I have an idea who these will be.
So Trump did one.
Yes.
I could pull it up here. Why don't I pull it up?
Pull it up. Let's do it. Let's get some free airtime to my president.
We're basically SNL at this point.
Is there a precedent for that? Like, were there political ads in the?
No, I don't think it's ever been done before.
I don't remember them happening.
I don't remember that either.
Trump's Super Bowl ad is not on YouTube, which means I can't share it with you guys. Let me try.
If Obama had done an ad in the Super Bowl, you would have just heard like 75 million middle America households just go ooh all at once, just rumbling. It'd be like a 3.2 earthquake. Countrywide.
Okay, so this is his.
America demands
politicizing the Super Bowl.
So
damn politics.
So basically, Trump's was he like claimed to have like saved this like woman from prison. Like he played off of like he is disrupting the prison industrial complex that is ruining black lives. So obviously very grotesque shit because he's certainly not doing that. He certainly does not give a shit about any black people, considering he sent the Central Park 5? Is that?
Yes.
Yeah. So he was like
yes.
He was not even complicit. He was like active in making sure those kids were unfairly and unjustly sent to jail. Yeah. What were you saying?
Hey, he paid exorbitant amounts of money to try to get them killed. Actually.
Yeah, took out an ad in the New York Times.
He actually, fun fact, took out 2 ads. The first ad was saying the Central Park 5 did it during the trial, and then when they all got acquitted and they were found not guilty, he put a second ad in the paper saying, "Wrong, they're all guilty. I'm sorry, they got it wrong, folks. They're all guilty." I don't know if you know this, but he did that.
Yes.
So
he produced a series where OJ did an "If I Did It" about the Central Park 5.
Yeah, if they did it.
If they did it.
So
and they did it.
Very grotesque stuff. But if you go, we got Mike Bloomberg's. Mike Bloomberg's I felt more subtly disgusting. So let's take a look.
America demanded change.
Donald Donald Trump wins the presidency.
And change is what we got.
Oh no.
Which one was there? Okay.
Damn, I want to vote
Oh, the
for
hurricane
Mike
thing.
Bloomberg
The
now.
hurricane thing. He throws the hurricane thing in the middle of it.
And ladies and
Ladies
gentlemen,
and
the
gentlemen.
best is yet to come.
I have to say that is objectively a bad anti-Trump ad right there. Like if I kind of was on the fence about Trump, I'd probably like him more after seeing that.
But it's like good
Other
stuff.
than
It's
Nazi
like good
stuff, like
he's doing.
basically it went from like Nazi stuff to like cool stuff, kind of.
Yeah,
Like,
it
I
was-
guess if you're
that
gonna
was
vote
bad.
for Trump, it was like a cool looking thing.
Yeah, I think I'm actually kind of want to vote for Mike Bloomberg now. He's
Yeah.
kind of swayed me a little bit. You know, I think he makes good points.
Here, wait,
Mostly,
then.
I like his.
Oh no, go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, it was a riff that would have died on the vine.
Well, okay, so
If we're being
go
honest with
back.
ourselves.
If we go back to the watch together,
Yeah,
I think honestly the most egregious one of all was this Budweiser one. So
Oof.
here we go.
Oh yeah, ordinary Americans or something.
Typical American.
They call us typical Americans. Maybe because we live typical American lives. Like this typical American. Showing off his strength. So typical.
Right.
Man
Look at
firefighter.
him, touching other people's things. Always so competitive. Typical Americans, showing up uninvited.
My troop son.
Removing their clothes in public. Yelling and being loud. Just like
Yes.
There we go.
something that
Oh,
can save the world.
Oh, man.
no.
Typical
Oh.
Americans,
that,
always
just
celebrating
hug
with
that,
typical American beer. So,
Hug
next
that,
time,
please.
Apparently,
Yeah,
only
yeah.
the U.S. World
Typical.
Cup, the Women's World Cup, and the Nationals celebrations were sponsored by Budweiser.
Show them what
That's the only two
typical
on the show.
can do.
That one was the worst of
probably
all,
typical
obviously.
It's so
Maybe a typical American beer. That's not a good slogan.
That was
And there's probably been more police and domestic violence caused by police due to Budweiser than any other possible product on the market. I don't know if you want to go down that angle, you know?
What's your angle
the
there?
commercial.
What's now?
Are you talking about the domestic abuse?
Yeah, I'm
police?
saying there's been more violence caused by cops getting drunk off Bud than
White
than
beating
any
cops
free
are
customers
actually they scream out it's Miller time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as cold as the mountain, they shouted as they beat me with the batons.
Yeah.
To be fair though, cops do enjoy being violent and abusive even when they're sober. So I don't want to,
That's
I
true.
want to keep it straight. That
That's
commercial
not
was
the good name of the Anheuser-Busch Brewing Corporation.
keep it sober. That commercial was so egregious though because it was so unnecessary. Like at least with the Bloomberg commercial, like you can understand where they're going with that. That was just like completely out of left field. There's no point in that.
What do you mean? You don't associate like your preferred choice of like alcoholic beverage, like while you're out in the streets protesting the police literally murdering people who look like you?
That was absolutely unreal. Giving police. If drinking your shit is gonna make me want to hug a cop, then I'd rather off myself.
Budweiser, the official beverage of hugging the fucking police.
Oh man.
But it is like, just from a pure, like the pitch standpoint, it is interesting because you know that how they pitched it was like, listen, microbreweries are exploding. There's more beer choices than ever before. Your beer, Budweiser, is what we call in the business terrible. You have very bad product. So what we're going to do is turn it and say that it's a good thing that this is like the just most basic beer you can get. Do you understand? It's a good thing now.
Well, they've been doing that. They've been taking that angle, Oh, like if you ask for anything more, like flavor or alcohol content, or even just variety, that makes you a fucking pussy. And it also makes you un-American, even though Anheuser-Busch, owned by a German or Brazilian beverage conglomerate.
Oh yeah, baby.
What if the king of beers is now Bolsonaro? And so the Super Bowl ad is just giant Bolsonaro polishing off a Bud Light.
I mean, I did kind of think when they showed the guy, when they were like, typical American worker, and it was like some man working at the Budweiser factory. It's like, yeah, some man who's probably had his union fucking crushed, his benefits ripped away, and he's not even, he's probably working on some sort of weird at-will hire where like he works 16-hour days for 3 months straight. Yeah, for some fucking Brazilian multinational conglomerate. Like that was the subtext there that I don't think. Yeah,
works for an app. Sits around for 3 hours waiting to get called by a delivery. They'll get paid $2 for.
Yeah. So.
Typical American worker has to look at his screen every 15 minutes to see if he's moving fast.
We got a boot judge canvasser.
Oh, what? Wait, what's up?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we have a roommate signing.
What's up, Willow?
Johnson 2 is a nice win for Klobuchar. I'm on the New York Times one.
Oh, sorry, no,
Johnson 2? Is that a
Johnson County is, I think it's one of the big ones.
Klobuchar got a big Johnson?
Well, they're not like
Klobuchar
actually
Big Johnson.
updating anything.
It's Iowa City.
Oh.
It's probably where all the professors.
Well, you know why Iowa City is voting for dumbass shit is because that's where the University of Iowa is, and getting a degree from the University of Iowa is actually worse than getting a high school diploma.
Oh, no.
Like it actually invalidates your high school diploma.
Oh my god.
Like, let's just say Ashton Kutcher went through their engineering program. Can't be good. Just saying. Just saying. It's not like the mighty Illinois. We invented, maybe you've heard of it, the transistor, the LED.
Maybe you've heard of it?
Yeah. How many NFL
Firefox?
owners of
Was it
the
a Firefox?
Jacksonville Jaguars went to your college? I believe 0. Who. Until we start talking
Have you seen Klobuchar?
What are you saying?
Is busting people for cot. When she was a prosecutor in Minneapolis.
Are you serious?
Ethiopian?
Yeah.
This is a real thing?
Yeah. It's people use it, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's like way less lethal than Budweiser, I'm sure. But she was cracking down on it instead of becoming prosecutor.
It's like fermented milk, right?
It's like a plant.
Okay.
You chew it.
Oh.
We're also.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well.
Which is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's fucked up. So I guess before we move off the Super Bowl, obviously the Nick Bosa memes were very funny because, he's a piece of shit. Very funny. All the memes about him not being able to go meet Trump, how he could feel the handshake, taste the Big Macs, and it all slipped away because of Jimmy Garoppolo. So does this mean Jimmy Garoppolo is Antifa? I don't know. All I know is he went to Eastern, so he's probably likes to party. Let's just put it that way.
Porn star Jimmy. Did you know his nickname was Porn Star Jimmy?
What is it? Porn star Jimmy?
His nickname is Porn Star Jimmy because he's such a handsome man. They say.
Well, there you go.
And he dated a porn star.
Really?
He dated a porn star. He did.
Well, oh, that's right. He dated the one who looks like Palin. It's the one who did Nail and Palin, right?
I don't know about that. I can do some research, some field research for you.
Okay, I appreciate
Oh
it.
man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, so those were very funny. Those memes were very good. I enjoyed those at the end of the game. So here's to the start of the actual football season as the XFL season begins this week. So
Did Alex send us anything on that?
he did not. He's been very busy with
Alex. We need you.
DC Defenders.
I didn't realize that was so cool.
Yeah, I'm excited.
We could be your field reporters from DC, the DC Defenders.
Oh, yeah.
the DC Defenders.
Unproblematic Washington team.
I want to see how much troop pumping they do.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the league
You guys
was
know,
created.
Could be like the Marines or some like.
Oh man,
You say the
I'd be
Merchant
so behind it
Marines?
if it was like,
Yeah, it's gonna be for some like paramilitary contractor Blackwater thing. Military, the U.S. military has the NFL on lock. So if you're a competitor to the NFL, you want to go for the little guys. You want to get sponsored by Z, Blackwater.
There
You
go.
know.
yeah, we have so many stuff. So many defense contractors here. We can get some. We can do it.
Yeah, we'll set up a meeting.
So if it were the team of like, if all they could get is the Coast Guard, I would be so on board with that. I would be like, I would true pump the Coast Guard if like
Yeah.
If it tried to
No. Let's slow down. The Coast Guard is also bad because they stop
What do they do?
They stop cool stuff like people from Cuba coming to overthrow the U.S. government, bringing awesome drugs into the country. They stop all that.
And I have no fun.
We get it if they're infiltrated, then boom.
Yeah.
You know, we get in on the Coast Guard. Minimal training, effort to be a Coast Guard agent, and then you just do a shitty job and let the revolution roll over.
The thing is about joining the Coast Guard is, as I've been told, because I tried to rag on the Coast Guard once to somebody who was a troop, they informed me that joining the Coast Guard is by far the hardest military branch to join, because they basically, as part of the training, you go into this big boat that's in like a giant pool, and they just flip the boat, and then you have to swim
That
out.
sounds like fun.
People die apparently doing it pretty frequently.
A boat in a pool? That sounds like a
Is the pool like
amazing
20 feet deep?
Yeah, they like turn it over. It's like on a fucking thing that like spins like a fucking rotisserie.
Like an actual like boat, like not a dinghy, like a boat.
Like one of the boats you'd be on if you're in the Coast Guard, like one of those.
I want to do this now, even if I don't get selected.
Let me look it up.
I want to go in the fucking boat. I want to get in the boat.
I'll get capsized in a pool.
How about this? Is the merchant marine part of the military?
That just means that you work on a boat that isn't run by the Navy.
All right. Well, I'm gonna. The DC Defenders are brought to you by the Merchant Marines. We hump the Merchant Marines. We stand the Merchant Marines.
Yeah. Soldier of Fortune.
They are the Marines. They are Marines.
Oh, sweet. There's cool like vaporwave music that they play while they do it. So it's not on like a rotisserie. It's on these like two fucking things on another boat. And they're like pulling it into the water.
Can you put that video into the
here.
watch with me? I kind of want to see this, to be honest. I want to see the boat.
I want a boat.
Okay, are you watching it?
Where is it?
It's in the watch.
Oh shit.
Watch together.
Shit. Okay.
Where is this watch together?
It's the link in. Oh, pause it for a sec. You see the go-to meeting control panel? Scroll up in that little chat box, and it's the first link.
It's
The
got
bottom.
good music.
Oh, watch together? Okay.
Yeah.
It takes a while for it to like pull over.
I could get out of that.
Yeah.
Well, it's not flipped over yet. Oh shit! What the fuck just happened? Who restarted it?
Wasn't me.
Oh, I did. Sorry.
You're off.
Oh, that's not
Get
cool.
out of this. Oh look, it like pushes it too. All right, now there it goes.
Jesus Christ.
Now you gotta get out.
I'm very confused now.
Extremely.
Now
You just have to
Maybe it's
stay
one of
alive.
the- It's a self-writing test. I don't know.
that's a little dip.
I like
That's
the
a little
music
dip.
though. The music was cool. Okay, we're getting far off topic here. We gotta keep it tight. Or
Pete Buttigieg is taking an
we're
early lead.
professionals here. They wouldn't let Anders do this on RT. They would. We can't allow ourselves to do this.
I wouldn't use that standard.
Anders just like, can we cut to like 45 minutes of like watching some Coast Guard training YouTube videos? You're just gonna need a roll the tape. Roll the tape.
Like, that's what we're doing anyway.
So before we get off of football, I want to do a quick Justin Jackson watch, which we need to get like. We need to get a song. I feel like at this point, like a Justin Jackson, he's fucking cool. Yeah, something.
Are we doing that because we genuinely think it, or are we pandering?
I think Justin
No, I
Jackson
think it's
seems
cool.
pretty cool at this point.
All right, that's cool. I just
Other than the
just
fact
want to
that
know
it's
the
Northwestern,
efforts.
but we can't all be perfect.
Sure.
He at least is a Big
I
Ten
will
guy.
say,
He's at least a Big Ten guy, which is important.
one very fun, by the way, well, as you pull that up, one very fun result of the Iowa so far is they're doing the first votes and the final votes, so everyone does it, and then so everyone's numbers has gone up except for Warren's, and her final vote tally is actually much lower than her first vote tally. So eat shit.
Yeah, fuck her. Okay, so Justin Jackson watch. Obviously, Justin is also very hype. I'll tell you what you're going to get tonight, Bernie Sanders. You're going to get an MF donation because I'm goddamn proud of you. Kiss emoji and a money bag symbol. Here, let me cut. Okay, we're there. Well, because I can scroll for the thing. This man could be sitting on a beach sipping a mojito, he retweeted, but instead he's trying to get you healthcare and higher wages. Big thanks to the GOAT, Bernie Sanders. If Bernie wins tonight...
That's a strange image.
If
Bernie
wins,
sipping a mojito on a beach.
Yes. If Bernie wins, we're getting lit tonight. Laughing emoji, tongue out emoji. Oh, and then he also... Justin Jackson is afraid of the heart attack gun because he says, protect this man, not me, us. Hashtag when you hurt, I hurt. So, Justin Jackson is already preparing for the heart attack gun. Then he says, go vote for Daddy Bernie tonight, Iowa. Let's do this. Hashtag game day. So, he's all in. He's ready to go. But, a challenger has appeared. And I don't even want to say a challenger because this is an OG. Dante Stallworth has come out, and he, I think, hits even harder. He says, so just to be clear, Hillary has been popping off on Bernie for years, in parentheses, including just last week, and y'all expect no one, not a single person in Bernie's orbit to clap back. Y'all want his supporters and surrogates to just sit there and continue to take it. Dante coming even harder, because he's coming straight at Hillary Clinton, knowing he could get disappeared. Because Justin Jackson has never come at Hillary Clinton. He knows, and he obviously knows they have the heart attack gun, because he's afraid of being used on Bernie. But
Is the heart attack?
What are you saying?
Is the heart attack gun? Is that similar technology that the Astros use with the brain aneurysm gun on Danny Farquhar?
We believe it.
It has a
they're in
little
possession.
dial.
We
There's a
believe that
little
they're in
dial on the
possession of
thing.
similar technologies. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's
If
just say
the Astros have that
Astros-
power, then certainly Hillary Clinton has far more advanced technology.
Let's say if you dig deep into the financial records, the Astros have made quite the donation to the Clinton Foundation. It's what done. Got it, baby.
Jose Altuve might be on the flight logs. We're not sure as of yet. But...
Oh man. Oh boy.
I bet the unit was on there.
Who was?
Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson was on the
Randy
flight logs?
I don't know.
One of the most Jeffrey Epstein didn't really like sports guys. I tried to look.
Really?
I tried to look through the list. There wasn't a ton of sports guys. He was
There's
much more
He's
into
in Hollywood.
Hollywood. He was into
Malcolm
Hollywood.
Gladwell was pretty much the closest thing.
Yeah. I was a bit disappointed.
So I'm gonna go to Dante. Let's see what if Dante's been. He's pinned tweet as Malcolm X. He's kind of just going after. Oh, he's retweeting the Onion, which is kind of. The DNC moles asking Donald Trump to run as Democrat in effort to stop Sanders. So I mean, Dante, he's not fucking around, man. He's retweeting stories about the Infinite War. Yeah. Plus also just football. Yes. So he's like very, you know, I think he's very he's plugged in. You know, he's a man who loves sports, and he's a man who loves knocking the Clintons down a peg. So I don't know.
That's pretty decent. So at this point, then he's got to be surpassed Jackson.
He's been doing it for longer, I think. You know, he basically got out of jail. He got out of jail because you know, Dante Stallworth did hit somebody when he was driving home drunk. Paid like like, I mean, I know that there's no cost on human life. Like, you can't like say that like he paid his life. But you know, I mean, he seemed to like have made peace with the family and like tried like you know, some sort of restorative justice, like from my understanding. And he
died.
What? Yeah,
he died.
He killed someone. Yes, and went to jail.
Ooh.
He went to jail for like 2 years because of it. So
was he drunk? Was he?
I think it sounded like he was like coming home from the club, and it was like 6 a.m. or some shit like that. So yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, very rough.
No.
But you know, yeah. I mean, I don't want to trivialize someone's death, but you know, it seems like
Justin Jackson wins this one. I think that.
Yeah, well, you know, you can move on, but okay. Anyways, we're not gonna.
Justin Jackson's only killing DBs. He's only killing quarterbacks. That's the only person he's killing. He's just juking them. He's just Achilles popping left and right.
I will say also that's the thing is Justin Jackson isn't like he's a third string running back, and Dante Stallworth was legitimately one of the best players in the NFL for like 5 years. So.
We all make mistakes. Some mistakes are bigger than others.
Anyways, so we're gonna kind of play catch up since we kind of took a week off. Because I went to the wrestling, which was fun as hell. Very good. We're gonna talk. We haven't mentioned Kobe yet. We haven't talked Kobe.
We have not.
I lost 10 followers for making a Kobe joke before his daughter died. I want to make sure that I'm very clear that we never joke about his daughter's death. Oh shit! I just realized that I don't have my W-2 because it was at work. Anyways, okay. So I just got a text from Sarah, and she's like, "I don't have your W-2." I'm like, "Oh yeah, because it's on my work computer that I don't own anymore." Anyways, it might actually be in this box. Anyways,
please let's go on a search for W-2 right now.
I got way. Anyways, so Kobe's passed. Obviously, I don't think we need to go into the details of the story because if you don't know what happened, you probably don't listen to this podcast. And so, but I would say kind of there were 3 kinds of obituary that kind of came out of this, or kind of remembrances. One was like I can't remember who read it. It was one of the former Deadspin writers. Wrote like a very good and thoughtful piece, kind of about just like honestly not even like entirely about because like obviously the thing is that Kobe was more or less like an unrepentant rapist. You know, like the details on like what kind of justice was offered and like how he like manipulated the situation. Like some people want to dispute. I don't really think that it's there personally. I mean, he clearly did it because he admitted to doing it. So, he never really seemed to ever like try to offer up any kind of justice for it, and that's something that like you know you just have to grapple with if you want to like look at a public figure like that. And so there were a couple good pieces that really did grapple with that, and like especially grappling with like the fact that like later in life Kobe became like a very outspoken like advocate for women's athletics, became like very outspoken like you know like I mean he's very active in his daughters' lives and but like kind of always felt like weird because like so much of like that rape case was like tied up in like him basically selling it as like, well, I failed my wife because I had sex with another woman. Like it was never about like raping another woman. It was always like sold as like, oh, like, well, I'm growing because I apologized to my wife. And it's like, dude, your wife had fucking nothing to do with this. Like,
he had that press conference with his wife sitting next to him. That was like a big iconic moment of like the turning point of that case.
Yeah. Goodbye for her.
Yeah, I mean, stuck with him.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically how they sold it. I mean, they leaked the woman's name, the victim's name. She started getting harassed by the press, by fans, and just they kind of like intimidated her into not testifying, which then of course like people were like, oh well she made it up and she doesn't want to tell the story and blah blah blah. So we don't have to get super into the details, like other than the fact that like he did it, he admitted to doing it. He disputed like if it was consensual or not, but he did say that there was like that he had sex with her and there was a disputation of the events, and he ended up settling with her out of court for a civil case. So, I mean, I think it's all there. And I mean, but yeah, what happened was obviously like there was never any sort of justice, and the public never really, I think, grappled with like what that meant, and Kobe was like all too willing to like start accepting his role as like this elder ambassador of the game. He like won that Oscar, and he was legitimately doing good things. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna say that Kobe's impact for like encouraging people to get excited about women's sports. Like, I'm not gonna say that was bad. Like, I mean, someone as popular as Kobe's like being like just like a very open fan of women's soccer and basketball, like, and it not even being like put on, like, I think is like immeasurably helpful. Like, you know what I mean? And so like those pieces like grappled with that. What were you saying?
I mean, I guess he did some cool things, yeah.
Right.
But we talked about it.
There's a big butt coming.
Dude, listen, we talked about it like back when the Josh Hader shit came out a couple years ago, and it's like he did a heinous act that there's so many actors that play there, and one of them is rape culture, and rape culture is what ultimately allowed him to get away with that sort of thing, and so I just kind of look at like. He's got a tremendous platform. He's got an insane amount of money, or had. What did he do with that platform, with that money, to transform the culture that he was once a part of? Right. And if he doesn't do anything to transform that culture or to mitigate it in some way, then it's lost. Like, it doesn't. I don't see. That's what I mean, like, about people, like, the canceling shit. Like, if I don't really care what he did after the fact. Like, he didn't do anything restorative or anything to really rectify his actions.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's the point, and that's what I think a lot of these, like, the good eulogies or what's it called when you write it? Obituary, like these obituaries, I think that those were the good ones, that these people kind of talked about that question and like said, like, this like never was resolved and this never was dealt with, and like that's something that's always going to carry with us, and like that's why it's hard to listen to this, and like why it's hard for people to be like like wanting to take part in this cultural moment of remembrance, which kind of gets into. So then there's like this, there's obviously the far complete response to this, completely different response. It's just like the utter revisionist response, which is that like Kobe was the most important basketball player in the world to me, next behind Michael Jordan. The man could do no wrong. Like his impact on my life was just immeasurable. I haven't seen anyone directly saying like the rape allegations were lies, like as some reason why you can't like remember Kobe the way that you want to, but there was a lot of like pushing under the rug with it, like openly like saying like, we don't need to talk about that. It's not the fucking time. You're a piece of shit. Michael Rappaport literally said you're a piece of shit to the guy, the Deadspin writer, or former Deadspin writer. He literally was in his mentions saying like he's a piece of shit, like for writing just like the most mild like maybe we need to think about what Kobe was.
Yeah.
Like
a Washington Post journalist got suspended for a week for even just tweeting out like this way Kobe's legacy is complicated, and they suspended the woman, and they're like, this is a breach of our Twitter policy. How? And that's why they had to eventually reinstate her. It's like there's no breach. You just said something that wasn't 100% fawning over Kobe Bryant. Yeah. I mean, you also see. I don't know how I feel about this totally, but do you see? And I can see how people can make the case for there being a difference between like if the focus of your Kobe coverage is on the fact that the public idea of Kobe inspired people or caused children to want to play basketball or caused children to overcome things. That's one thing. But as soon as you start saying anything about I knew Kobe, Kobe the man was X positive thing, then it's like, well, fuck you. You can't talk about there's space to talk about the cultural myth of people and what they mean to society at large. But as soon as you veer into this person personally was this, then you have to be mentioning the negatives along with the positives, or else, you know what I mean? Does that hold water? Do you think?
No, for me it does. I agree with you. I do. I have a very distasteful question to ask though, and I want to like how. In this, I mean, obviously, in your opinion, but how acceptable do you feel it is to openly celebrate his death? Like, not the incident itself, but to openly celebrate that a rapist died.
Go ahead.
Because I have an opinion on it.
One of those things where it's like, if you're gonna do that, then expect backlash, and that's just kind of part of it. I don't really feel the need to comment one way or the other.
Wait, if you're gonna do what, rape or celebrate his death?
Celebrate his death.
Okay.
In a perfect world, you would expect backlash with rape, but unfortunately, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it seems there are people who are mystified that the other people are upset for them just purely turning this into a joke, which, like, of course, it's your right to do, but obviously expect people to be upset about it.
It would be a lot easier if he had died in a solo accident.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it would be a lot easier, and I'd be a lot more willing to be like, you know, it's open season, baby, let's go. Like,
I will say that, yeah, for sure. If, so, and that kind of like hints at, so there was like kind of a third one. And, like, there were some unfortunate people who did this. Like, I mean, it was very unfortunate because there were a couple people that I do respect that did this. That they paid, like, quick lip service to the fact that, like, Kobe was complicated. And the legacy is hard to analyze. And then didn't analyze it. Like, they were like, you know, like, they were just like, oh, but what I would like to talk about is how Kobe... And, like, they would even veer into... what I would argue was like complete historical revisionism of how they actually felt about Kobe Bryant. Like, it was like that shit where it's like, cause like, let's be frank here. Like when Kobe was alive until the fucking day that you found out he died, if someone went and asked you, like, what's up, what's your feelings on Kobe Bryant? You would start going on about like how like, you know, like the man was selfish. He ran Shaq out of town. I mean, he did also do Shaq dirty in the rapist case where he essentially tried to claim that Shaq raped multiple women and he learned how to cover it up from Shaq. which is insane. Which Bill Simmons fucking loves to bring up and like act like is totally true. Like, because Bill Simmons just has an irrational hate of Shaq for like no reason.
Well,
I just want to
you
throw
think
that
it's
in.
not true?
Well, I don't know. It's never come out, so like it is bold to
Yeah, it's
like
money, all that money.
So it is bold for Bill Simmons to say that it is bold for Bill Simmons to like he actively denies Kobe's like rape charges. Like he only referred to it as like the incident in Colorado and clearly think that it's not real. Like he thinks the allegations are false.
Yeah.
But then he'll just like hear a whiff of Shaq and he just like starts like throwing out that Shaq like probably is like fucking Conan the Barbarian. Like on people's towns, you know. Anyways, I'm digressing into my
on the Kobe Death podcast for Bill Simmons, he did upgrade it from an incident to an unfortunate incident.
Jesus.
Series of unfortunate
incidents. Oh Jesus.
Good God.
But yeah, so like if any person who's like knowledgeable or enjoys basketball, if somebody asked you about Kobe, you would have spent probably 2 or 3 minutes just fucking laying into like how his legacy was a manufactured myth to counteract like the Allen Iversons and Rasheed Wallaces of the mid 2000s NBA because David Stern was racistly selling the product to white people, you know, and he took too many jumpers and like the modern analysis of the game has been even more unkind to Kobe than it was. And like his farewell tour was just a giant, it was like almost as bad, if not worse, than Derek Jeter's, where he just tanked a team. He tanked a team to like not even, you know, like to the point people were accusing him of like dude, you have to at least like teach the rookies how to like play basketball, like because he was just fucking launching like 35 footers like 2 seconds into the shot clock. Like I mean, like there was like this like thing, and like I would say most notably Dave Zirin did this, which was kind of disappointing because Dave Zirin like legitimately thinks he's like the heir, at least for the sports realm, of Howard Zinn. And like I mean, this motherfucker is just like coming across as like a half woke Michael Rappaport in his analysis of the Kobe thing, which is just, I mean, I've seen a couple of people that are just like, it's just very disappointing.
What did he say?
He really just did a total like, he literally just goes, Kobe, yeah, it was really complicated. Never talks about it again. Just in his obit. Like, if I like pull it up, like,
That's interesting. Because usually Zirin is fearless at going at stuff.
See, that's the thing about Zirin is that like I think that this kind of like was in a lot of ways like my final nail because it also came out with The Nation like doing a lot of like lame ass like Warren is good articles, and I think
Zirin
like,
did?
No. The Nation did, but you know Zirin writes for The Nation. So here we go. There's a Warren ad right on The Nation for me.
Oh yeah.
So I'm 5-6 paragraphs in, 8, 9, 10. The 14th paragraph. Kobe's death has already renewed discussions of his complex legacy, particularly regarding when he was accused of rape in Colorado. After he was charged with sexual assault, which, okay, first off, that sentence implies that there's other things. There wasn't another thing. That is, like, it's like, oh, yeah, like, among other things, he was accused of rape. Like, he was just kind of a, you know, he was just a hard guy to get along with. Like, after he was charged, never went to trial. The accuser had a civil suit that was settled. Nothing after that. Then for now there will be mourning, and then the article ends. That's it. It's just incredibly disappointing from a guy who's supposed to be the guy, like the sports leftist, you know?
Yeah. Who? Oh yes. Who like what public figure has given a decent analysis on this?
I don't know.
Like I know you said
public figure. I don't think anyone. I don't think anyone.
So they're saying that no one with any sort of platform has publicly had any sort of decent moral critique of Kobe, like since his passing.
No.
That's the most. That to me is just utterly absurd.
Yeah. I mean,
Arch fear.
They wouldn't do it in July. You know, I mean, like, that's the thing is some people have been saying, they're like, you know, people keep telling us, oh, it's not the time to bring it up in his death, but like he would bring it up, you know, when he won his Oscar, when he got retired, when he was retiring, when he won his last championship, and everyone was feeling really good about him again, when he won the second to last championship after Shaq left. You know, like, I mean, since this happened, it's always been, oh, well, it's not the time. Like, let it get back to basketball. Oh, it's not the time. He's retiring. Like, let him enjoy this moment. Oh, it's not the time. Like, he's enjoying his retirement. Oh, it's not the time. He's fucking dead. Like, you know?
You might really appreciate this. This will be a little bleed. I'm just doing this to see your reaction to this. Bleed over from, you know, into the comedy world here. There's a comic called Ari Shaffir who got a huge amount of blowback because he tweeted this a few hours after the news broke. He tweeted, and he's a pretty big comic. He's a decent-sized following. He said, Kobe Bryant died 23 years too late today. He got away with rape because all of the Hollywood liberals who attack comedy enjoy rooting for the Lakers more than they dislike rape. Two ups to the hero who forgot to gas up his chopper. I hate the Lakers. What a great day. # fuck the Lakers.
Holy shit.
There's your balance. There it is. If you want it.
So I didn't realize that there was like a right-wing response to Kobe Bryant.
No. He was doing that. So he's not like a right-wing guy. He was doing it to deal with people because he knew what he would get.
I'm assuming he made that tweet before all the details came out. Man,
I think before it came out that his daughter died too.
There's like I think 7 other people that passed too in the incident.
Yeah. But I think that makes it even more commendable because he just got it from the hip like half an hour after he just like bang.
That's pretty hardcore right there.
You know, I will say my kind of like last thoughts on this is like also I got accused by white people, not by a single black person, of saying that I was racist because it's not my place to say that Kobe Bryant. Because black people are essentially boiled down to me as black people are too infantile to have their own to recognize that their icons committed atrocities against another human being that sexual assault happens to everyone. I mean, I know that it does happen disproportionately to women of color, but it does happen to everyone. It's happened to me personally. So like, you know, like I felt I got that quite a lot where like it wasn't my place to say that we can't enjoy Kobe.
I will say I do think that there's something particularly and historically insidious about white people celebrating the death of a black person. That idea, and I had a conversation with this because I didn't know how to feel about it. I didn't know how to feel about talking about Kobe's death with a bunch of white dudes on my podcast. As much as, you know, I do think that you guys are top of the line when it comes to white men, but you know that line is you know, it's bottom of the barrel stuff in general.
You still have to be genocided. But, I mean, that's the fact.
I didn't say that. You know, and I was actually for those of you who have listened to the Black Pod, Martini Marcus, my buddy from Dallas, I was talking to him about this, and I don't know, it's just, you know, it's just something. I think that there's a way to express how you don't care about a rapist or someone who committed sexual assault seemingly unremorsefully. I think there's a way to express how you don't care about that person dying or even are happy about it. That is also cognizant of your place as a white person, critiquing the death of a black person. I'm not going to go so far as to say like you can't do that, you know, because that's just straight up racist because you're white. You shouldn't say that about him. I don't know. I think it's a worthy conversation to be had. as long as I don't know. Yeah, sorry. What were you gonna say?
Well, that's
my kind of like thought. My last thought on it is that I think that was something that was always very insidious about the Kobe case. Was it got presented as like his lawyers directly presented it as, oh well, black men always get accused of things they didn't do and they go to jail because they're black. And
Right.
like that was always something that was very disturbing about the whole thing to me, is that Kobe did go along with that. Even after then eventually he said, I did it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was always something that like complicated it to me, because like I tend to not say things about like Derrick Rose for like kind of a similar reason, because like I think that there's a lot more wrapped up in what happened with Derrick Rose than with Kobe. Like, like I feel fairly comfortable saying Kobe. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that happened with the Derrick Rose thing. I'm not going to get into it because I don't feel like it's entirely my place. I'm also not going to say that like you can't be upset at Derrick Rose for doing what he did if you're
Absolutely.
Because like I said,
Oh,
I think
if you're white,
because like
yeah.
I said, it was white people that were telling me this, and it was it felt very much like that paternalistic thing where white people are like, oh well, like black people are too stupid to understand that their icons like are bad people, so we need to just like let them have this one.
No, I get it. Your critique of the type of white person who was coming at you is spot on,
Yeah.
and that is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
I do think that I still think that we have to grapple with these sorts of dynamics when we're critiquing people publicly.
Definitely. I was very, like, if I can speak on it a little bit, like, this is just my perception of what I saw, but, like, there were so many in the wake of, like, Kobe dying. There were so many, like, black comedian friends that I have who were, like, posted things on Facebook. People that I know align very kind of closely where I'm at, or somewhat close where I'm at. And I was pretty, maybe I was a little kind of sheltered from this worldview, but I was very taken aback by there was an outpouring of very intense, you could tell, grief that was real. And that's kind of where I got to what I was saying about before, which is like there is something to that sort of like the cultural idea of what Kobe meant to people versus the man, his actions in like the earthly realm of what he actually did day to day. So that's why I want you to know, Marisa, like that, seeing all of that and talking to people, that's kind of what brought me to what I said in that opinion, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, just so I understand. Oh, sorry, we're going to say.
No, go ahead.
Is your issue that these pieces are not addressing the rape right out of the gate in them? That it's too early, it's too late in these, say the Zyron piece that he mentioned at the end and not the beginning?
It's not that he mentions it at the end, it's that he dismisses it as like some sort of like personality quirk. Like it's that
right.
Like he gets to the end and he goes, oh well, like I got to all this nice stuff, but like remember there's this like whole part of like Kobe that like never got dealt with, and like there was no sort of restitution or justice offered or like national conversation that we came to a resolution on. And Kobe actively made sure that we never talked about it, as well as sports media that had interest in making sure that we all viewed Kobe as this mythological advertising force, equatable or greater than Jordan. And but that was really nothing more than like he just didn't get along with people sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
There was really very little analysis of like that sort of advertising thing where Kobe just represented that sort of like late 90s, early 2000s post Jordan sort of like a yawning, like a gnawing need of the subconscious of all basketball fans for there to be a next, like we have to make this guy the next Jordan because there's just a hole in our, in our basketball lives. And I thought there was very little discussion of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing is the Deadspin piece or the former Deadspin piece. I gotta figure out who fucking wrote this. Is the what's the one that what's the Twitter account that gives you all the old Deadspin?
Undead.
Deadspin. Anyways,
I don't know if that's old stuff or just new things
well, no,
that
it's
people
new
have
things
made.
that are coming out by people who used to write.
Yes, correct.
And so there was a way to talk about how you felt like Kobe was a very important basketball player. It was Albert Berneko is who wrote it. But there was a way, and Albert did it in a way where you could say that Kobe was a very important person to me as someone who enjoyed basketball and someone, who's a fan of sports. And also, he harmed someone's life in a way that was never really offered any sort of, like, closure to. And, like, there's nothing I can do about that. And I am still, like, kind of allowed to celebrate the parts that he affected of my life positively, but, like, also acknowledging that, like, that could hurt someone else. You know what I mean?
Well, even with things like that, though, I think it's really important when, like, if you're gonna critique the what Kobe did, like, we don't look at things like that as an isolated incident, you know, because there's like an entire culture that's acting behind Kobe, and so it wasn't just Kobe did this thing that hurt one person. It was Kobe committed an atrocious act that ultimately exploited a system that he very much benefits from, in terms of misogyny, rape culture, patriarchy, and all these things that allowed for him to not only do the act in the first place, but justify it in his own mind and then get away with it. And I just think it's and the fact that it played out publicly, it didn't. I don't think that it hurt just one person. You know, I think that this hurt really an entire community of people, millions of people. You know, and that is what I'm saying is for as far as like white people critiquing Kobe, and where I think that it would be good to sort of state it like that, as opposed to like a one-on-one vendetta that you have against the guy. Again, like I'm all for celebrating his individual death. When I first before all the details came out for that copter crash, man, dude, I was like, all right, I'll take it. And then obviously the details come out and you kind of change your tune. But that to me is the focus of where my critique, I guess, would be, is, you know, he hurt an entire community of people, and for that he did nothing to rectify that publicly, and for that, welcome.
Yeah. Well, I want to get on one last little thing before we
it's Black History Month, baby.
I know.
We gotta,
what I want to do. Nathan, can you pull up the tweet? Can you pull up the tweet so Anders can see it, because you're in the same room with him. So.
Who's it from again?
What's up?
It should be in the Twitter DM.
Yeah, it's like kind of scrolled up. Here, I'll just send it again right now, because I have it pulled up. Okay, there you go. Okay. So if we direct our attention to the screen,
Black History Month.
We have this tweet of all great black baseball players. First off, I want to point out that Ricky Henderson not in this picture.
Well, he's not important, so.
I mean, yeah, I know. He was only like ostentatiously black, conspicuously black, as well as being the greatest leadoff hitter and possibly one of the most exciting players in baseball history.
He was definitely one of the most publicly black players probably in the history of baseball, for sure.
Oh,
like in terms of like owning their blackness publicly and not hiding from that shit, like Andrew McCutchen, God love him, but he was amazing.
Yeah. They do have at least they do have Frank Thomas and his big ass forehead like very close to Jeter, and Tim Anderson as well. Tim Anderson's directly behind with CeCe. So,
that was dope.
So we got that, but like I said, I don't want to get too into skull science or like skull measuring here. I legitimately forgot that Jeter is like mixed. And then I said this to you because I was like, how do you feel about like Jeter being in the middle of the Black History Month thing?
Dude, the fact, again, like talk about public blackness, right? Like owning your blackness publicly. All right, so if Ricky Henderson is a poster child for that, the poster child for doing the exact opposite is fucking Derek Jeter. Right? Like, the dude. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he's probably never even looked at a black woman in his life. I would imagine that he himself is. There's 100%. If he had a bio, he would put "I'm mixed" in my bio. He is
what's Tiger? Complination.
Yeah,
Complination.
Like that,
yeah.
He's not black. He's mixed. I think he's like one of those.
I'm not black. I'm Jeter. They would say.
Yeah.
You found something though. He said something on his recent Hall of Fame induction, which he missed by what? One vote. God bless the man who.
God bless.
Have we found out who that is yet?
I feel like we did, but I did not record it.
Okay.
It was the one guy that actually looked at Derek Jeter's defensive stats.
Okay, I will admit, like the defensive thing with Jeter is just like he was basically just like slightly below average for like a decent like part of his career. But he did say to A-Rod like, you're not playing shortstop, when A-Rod was like a legitimate like above average defender at shortstop.
Yeah.
He was like, no, you're not taking this from me. And it's like he did cost them like being good by doing
that. Which might be a Hall of Fame worthy type thing, but
remember too, like people don't like revere Jeter so much just because of his numbers. Like he is objectively and above. He's an average to above average Hall of Fame candidate. But people, it's the character of Jeter that people revere so much, and why he gets so much praise. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that just is absolutely sickening, because he's not.
That's exactly right. It's the idea of Jeter. But I'm not even really sure. I understand what the idea of Kobe meant to people, but I don't. Maybe you have to be a New York guy, but I don't get what Jeter means to people. Like, I just don't get it.
He's played with A-Rod, but it was a little more wholesome than A-Rod, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he had the mythos before.
All-American.
Before A-Rod got there. I mean, they were like...
But A-Rod...
They were like...
He was the Oshkosh guy of his generation. He was just the Oshkosh player.
Yeah. He was wholesome. Yeah. All-American.
A-Rod moved to a different position, which hurt his legacy, by the way.
Oh,
because if he had stayed at shortstop, I don't know, like you would look at A-Rod, I think, a little bit differently. But the fact that Derek Jeter don't forget, Derek Jeter didn't just make A-Rod move to third base. Derek Jeter played shortstop about 5 years too long. And so, like, during the tail end of his career, when he was legitimately a poor shortstop, he refused to move from that position.
So, also, because ignorance, when A-Rod was signing with the Yankees, did he ever bring up like, hey, so Jeter kind of plays shortstop? Am I gonna play shortstop?
Well, he got traded. He got traded.
Oh, right. That's right.
Because Aaron Boone broke his rib or something, fucking playing basketball the year after he hit the home run.
Yeah.
And so they made a big trade for A-Rod.
But also, if you remember, A-Rod, people talk all this shit about A-Rod, and there's a lot of shit to be talked about A-Rod, especially if you learn a little bit about his politics. But A-Rod, not only was he more than willing to move to third base, don't forget, he almost got traded to the Boston Red Sox when he was with Texas. He almost got traded to the Red Sox, and he was willing to take less money. He was going to restructure his contract to take less money to get traded to the Red Sox. Now, obviously, we're not fans of that. The Players Union shot that down, which is why the trade didn't happen. But if you're talking about how baseball people love selfless players and the reason that they will revere Jeter, that is one of the most selfless pro-team acts that you can make. And if you're going to build a case around a dude being like a leader type of figure like they have with Jeter, that's a good reason to fall behind A-Rod.
Hey.
Well, that's like the thing too with like.
We're on for like 5 more minutes. We're never done.
That's like the thing with like Jeter, is that and A-Rod is like A-Rod also was like made a pariah by the entire league and was like made to like represent like the moral failings of like 3 decades of baseball that he had fucking nothing really to do with. And like honestly, arguably like the more like representational thing would be like what Jeter was, where Jeter just like fucking just sat there and just being like, yeah, I'm getting mine. Like, I don't give a fuck about this. Like, you know, like, and just moved on, just like baseball did. So,
yeah.
Can we do? Have you been looking at the Iowa results? They're coming in exceedingly slowly. They're coming in suspiciously slowly.
I've been trying to see what's happening. So yeah, let's we got. So we just want to throw out one last fuck you, Derek Jeter. I'm glad that you didn't get in unanimously.
He also thinks that black kids are too focused on immediate gratification, and that's why baseball is losing its black population, because black kids want to be happy.
Too boring?
No.
Yeah.
No, they just they can't pull their pants up enough, and then and just be and like take pleasure in anything that takes you any amount of like if you have to apply any sort of effort that like you wouldn't get immediate results from, the black mind can't handle that, according to Derek Jeter. Yeah.
Derek Jeter is also a very boring player to watch in a lot of different ways, and he himself is definitely a reason for the decline of black kids wanting to play ball, because it's fucking boring.
That's true.
Well, his big thing was like they want instant gratification, and you know you can get to the NFL right away, you can't get to the MLB right away. But he totally glosses over the fact that like during the 3 years, and that's a good case scenario, is 3 years. It'll be in the minor leagues. You're paid like shit. You're treated like shit. It's a shit experience. Like if you were paid a living wage, I don't think most people.
And
would,
also, Derek Jeter didn't have to do it. He
was like 20, right?
Yeah, he spent like no time in the minor leagues. So yeah, he can fucking.
What an asshole! What an asshole!
He can fucking eat a giant fucking turd sandwich.
Oh man.
So yeah, so before we get out of here, how's Bernie looking?
Bernie, you want to report?
So I don't even know how reliable this is, but I just saw something that had Buttigieg ahead.
So so right now the only it's looking pretty good, because the only precincts that have come in are small ones, and Bernie's going to do better in the larger sort of city ones. But he is winning the first vote. So when they first line up for stuff, he has 25.6%, and then Warren has 22.4%. Buttigieg has 17.8%. Biden has 13.2%. Klobuchar has 13.2%. But he falls slightly behind when they do the final vote, so the realignment votes. And actually, Buttigieg jumps from 17.8% to 27.6% when they realign. And then Bernie has 26.3, Warren has 20.5, Biden has 13.8, Klobuchar 11.5. I still think it's looking good for Bernie, because I'm not sure that Buttigieg has statewide appeal. Like, I'm just not sure that he can maintain this over the course of over the whole state. He has limited appeal.
Nothing to me right now.
Yeah, the results are apparently under quality control.
The last time that he got screwed out of a bunch of shit last time. Like,
if he loses close, it's going to be hell. It's not going to be good.
Because the fact remains, this shit should be fucking illegal.
Funny enough is that the funny thing to me is that Warren is one of the major candidates who has lost votes. From the first vote to the final vote, she goes down from 22.4 to 20.5. So she has like got in some places, and they convinced Warren people, maybe good intentioned rubes they are, egghead rubes to actually leave Warren and go to someplace else.
Yeah. Okay, I see this post results. Well, at least Biden is doing dog shit, so that means he's gonna fucking.
But so few votes have been counted that we say that Bernie's down by 1.3%, and 1.3% means 67 votes.
Okay.
That's how few results have come in.
But Biden is like half. He's like behind by like half on the field.
Biden is
right
cratering.
Yeah.
Biden is cratering.
Which that's what they're saying about like this is like apparently now they're like reporting to everybody like the first count results, so like you know like what to do. Like they were trying to make it about like how Bernie was going to manipulate stuff, but like it is going to be interesting I think to see like what's happening with Biden. Like this whole thing was just completely manufactured by the media. So we'll see what happens. South Carolina I feel like is the big one. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna head down there. I think I'm gonna head down there this weekend or the next. Knock on some doors, maybe get shot.
Put it this way. It's very tightly grouped right now, but Bernie lost South Carolina in 2016 by 50 points to Hillary Clinton, 75 to 25%. He's down to Joe Biden. He's down to Joe Biden by 5 percentage points.
I mean, I think the next shoe to drop with that in Biden, because now his lead is in South Carolina, and maybe this will make a difference, maybe it won't, but he has been lying, straight up lying, about his history in the civil rights movement. Just completely his staff acknowledged that he was lying, that he never was like organizing in churches the way he said he was.
You mean that he like wasn't just like actively segregating buses? Like,
yeah.
Like he wasn't in,
But
he
I
wasn't
think
like
that could
literally
make
the
a
people
difference.
like they were protesting against in the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
But it looks like Buttigieg or Sanders. It looks like a two-man race. I wouldn't have predicted this, but I think Buttigieg will fade.
Dude, I mean, he's got no money. His whole gambit was winning Iowa.
In this state, I think he will fade in this state. I mean, I can't imagine. He's getting huge. I think that they've only counted little tiny ones. The results that come in, I've been watching it the whole time. Sorry, folks. They've been jumping by like 100 or 200 votes at a time, and like when the big city ones come in, like Des Moines or something, the big ones, they're going to jump by like 500-600 at a time, and that's
okay.
the reason to mop it up. That is my prediction. I think he will win. It's looking good. But how can you sustain having a first
He was a fucking
vote?
minus 300 favorite today. I wouldn't have put money on it. Let's see where he's at right now. Maybe
How are you going to sustain Buttigieg being first vote 17.8% and then final vote 27.6%?
Yeah.
That would be
a lot of
incredible if that stands up. That's like an insane outlier thing that would be wild if it stood up.
A lot of it's just looking like Biden is just not hitting 15% in some of these places. So that Iowa's attorney general, who had endorsed Biden, was in a precinct where he wasn't viable, so he ended up caucusing for Pete Buttigieg.
Oh man, they won't let you bet. They won't let you live bet on politics. They also wouldn't let me fucking parlay this morning. I was trying to play a parlay of fucking Iowa, New Hampshire, and the fucking presidency, and they wouldn't let me parlay it. It's singles only. So.
And at least, Buttigieg has really not a lot of infrastructure anywhere else. So the guy that does got cooked tonight. He's cooked. He's gobble gobble. He's cooked.
Yeah.
Gobble gobble. He's cooked.
So that's it. That's where we're at. I will say, if you're one of the two people watching, I don't know if I could probably stay up and start watching results. So if we want to maybe put together, I can throw out the link to the video chat. If anyone wants to stay on and watch stuff, we can throw up a video chat for everybody. Possibly, if you're a member of the Southpaws DM, you'll probably get this. So,
I don't plan on doing anything except just sitting here and watching the numbers.
Yeah. So I'll throw it on. You can be part of history with us. So yeah, if you're listening to this podcast, that means that you should be watching us live, because you're missing out on cool stuff like us just deciding to hand you the link to the video chat so you can watch Bernie fucking stomp Mayor Pete in the final rounds of Iowa live with Southpaws. And also,
the first round barely started. They're not getting any fucking results back to us.
And also, if you're not watching us right now, that means you're going to have to probably get used to never watching us, because I think in a month, you'll only be able to consume Southpaws on the Means TV network. So, you know.
Monopoly.
Consume us, folks.
Yeah, it's like we got to make it a little more exclusive, you know. It's, you guys weren't taking it seriously until, like, maybe we made it, like, a little... like some gold-plated chicken wings here, so. But yeah, so we have some T-shirts designs, but I want to change it now that I realized that we should do the Lithuanian basketball team tie-dyes instead. We should rip those off. So I'm nixing the T-shirt, and I'm gonna make. I'm going to try and make them look like the Lithuanian basketball team ones. So, so T-shirts are coming.
Oh, yeah.
The Illini are coming, just like Bernie. The Illini, or actually, I had a joke. The joke is better. Is unlike Brad Underwood, Bernie's going to win in Iowa. So.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Although
I would be laughing more
maybe just like Brad, maybe like Brad Underwood, the officials will hose the true winning team, just like Brad Underwood got hosed by the referees in Iowa City. So,
and we're gonna win at home. We're just gonna win in Illinois, so we're winning at home, baby. It's gonna happen.
There you go.
I was very disappointed in you, Illinois, last time. I called, I did things, and I was very disappointed in you. Actually, Cook County. Very disappointed in you, Cook County. The entire state went for Bernie except Cook County. Swung it to Clinton.
You got to bring back that Kennedy machine.
We need dead people voting for Bernie. If you're dead, get out and vote for Bernie.
There you go.
We need
until next week. I can't wait. Like I said, I have $25 on Bernie winning the presidency at what is it? 280 plus 280, I think. Was that, or plus 300?
Something like that.
Something around there. So if anything, Bernie needs to win because I would like to become slightly richer. So.
Yes.
So yeah, until next week. Thank you, Anders. Oh, Anders. Plug you, Anders Lee here, right? Pod America. Anything else?
Do you have any viewers in Vermont?
We actually do.
Do we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, come on out to the Revelry in Burlington on February 29th. I'm going to be doing my hour of comedy called Dummy.
Nice.
It's at 8 p.m.
Fuck yeah.
That sounds fun.
So,
I think, speaking of events,
do it here.
we are going. Nathan won't be there, but we are going to the Means TV premiere at the end of February, which I think that they're doing like a live stream for. So, you guys should watch. Me and Maurice are going to be walking the red carpet. We've already started looking at our dresses. I'm thinking Oscar de la Renta. So.
I'm doing red bottoms, absolutely, for my shoes.
There you go. So, until next week, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Peace out.
Put a forward in it. 6's on that Chevy with some hoes in it. Put a forward in it. 6's on that Chevy with some hoes in it. What he want to do? Bitch, how we? What he want to do? Bitch, how we? What he want to do? Bitch, how we? What he want to do? me see it. You're looking for a real pussy eater, I could be it. Quit playing with me, girl, and bring it over here. And climb aboard my base, put that pussy on my beer. I ain't trying to take you shot. Buy your ass no shoes. I'm trying to lick that click while I'm looking up at you. No shame in my game, girl. Look back at me. I don't give a fuck if it's shaved or it's nappy, long as it ain't nasty. Sanitation smelling, one whiff of that bitch, I'ma be bailing. If it's smelling sweet, I'ma lick it for an hour. And even if it's sour, I might lick it in the shower. I go dumb and ignorant when I'm on that clitoris. Lick your ass delirious, my tongue ain't so damn serious. Open the ass over, let me eat it from the back. That pussy so good, have a nigga coming back.
Put a cup, put a forward in it. 6's on that Chevy with some hoes in it. Put a cup, put a forward in it. 6's on that Chevy with some hoes in it. What he want to do? Bitch, how we? What he want to do? Bitch, how we? What he want to do? Bitch, how we? What he want to do? Bitch, how we?
Oh, that nigga scared, let me show you what it's about. Spread apart them lips, put that clit up in my mouth. And that thing so juicy, I'ma call it jamba. Licking it in circles, got me calling me your papa. Tongue going faster, singing Lalabamba. Trying to keep my rhythm like the bongos and samba. I'm a pussy monster, blowing on that ganja. After I finish, look like you was in the sauna. Toes curling up while you grabbing on the sheets. Spitting on that pussy real sloppy when I eat. Slobbing on that pussy, after that, I don't cuddle. I put that dick up on her, make her sleep up in a puddle. Bitch, I ain't afraid, I eat it up in public. Feet up on the windshield, broad day pop. 69 in hotels with the lights on. Tongue worth a million, I don't need ice on. Put a cup up, put a forward panic. 6's on that Chevy with some hoes in it. Them hoes playing, they don't wanna fuck. I'ma put they ass out, they gon' be walking, bruh. And I'm swagged up, I'm off a pee. Can fuck you for an hour, cause I can't feel. Said I'm swagged up, I'm off a pee. Can fuck you for an hour, cause I can't feel.